If you're watching this video, it means that the JDL front bumper actually passed the daily driver test that I had for it. Well, basically in the previous part, all I did is a couple of trimming areas for it to be installed somehow on my MR2 Spyder. It was a bit hard, and the fitment, if you will watch the part 1, you will see is not great, but it was enough for me to be driving the car around the city and having a look as of, is it a good daily driver? Is it scraping everywhere? Will I destroy it? Most likely, because it's way lower than the OEM front bumper, plus my car is on lowering springs. Today is a really cold day again, so I won't be able to do much, but we're still able to, take some of the clear coat and paint off the bumper without removing the bumper of the car. So that's a great one if I will be able to do. I will most likely mask a couple areas, fenders, and maybe mask the headlights so I don't hit it with the sandpaper, and that's it. So what I have on me right now is a 120 grid, 240 grid, something else as well, and a 400 grid, or maybe just a 400 grid. Well, with the 400 grid, you're definitely more than okay to do any work that we're gonna do on the bumper, but I got a 600 grid as well just to be safe. If some areas will be a bit rough, maybe we'll do it a little bit with the 600 in order to polish it nicely. But for now, I've already bought the epoxy, the resin, and a couple of cloth. So it's a Rovin, I think, the specific one that I got. It was for free. It was used, not used exactly, but a guy gave it to me for free, so we're gonna use it. That's the first view. We started with the 120 grid, the aggressive one. I know it hurts, and even though I taped everything just because I wasn't sure, I still didn't really do a good job. Yeah, we will have to remove the bumper for a perfect finish, for working underneath or for the areas that are covered by the fenders and the headlight. But this is what you're looking at right now. Those areas, if you will get many of those are the thinning areas. That's a very thin layer, so we'll have to reinforce it. Luckily, so far we only have found one, but this is still not done. Areas that you will see such spots, that means that you're doing something right. You want to have some more of those. Don't go too aggressive. Just get the sandpaper and slowly work your way. You can go straight to some areas. You have to use your finger with the sandpaper to get deep into some areas. Edges, you have to clean everything nicely, because even if you let like spots here underneath, if you don't do it right, the paint will not stick right. Nothing will stick right, and with age look really bad. So this is the first step, but we are not done yet. I will use the 120 a little bit more, and then I will go to 240 or 260, I don't know which one I have, to make things a bit smoother, and then we will go from level to level and reach the 400 grid. So as I've said before, it's getting really dark really quick in that time of the season, but that's what we're gonna see after 240. Again, this is not complete. I will still touch it a little bit with the 240, but overall you are supposed to see no glossiness, no clear coat no more. I would say paint, but no, I'm sure if I clean some areas with a cloth, we're gonna see dark paint, but some areas are without paint as well. You can see they're completely white. So this is day 2, and I've done quite something on the bumper with the sandpaper, but if any of you watching has worked with body, front bumper, rear bumper, or anything for the car, you can see that some areas are perfect, some other areas need an extra pass of 240 maybe, and some areas need a 140. What I'm gonna do now is just replace the bumpers. We'll put the stock one back and take the JDL inside, so I can do some extra sandpapering around the edges and the covered places. So let's talk progress here. I installed those things back. There's a screw that I have to put in both. I will have to remove one horn out of 2, so it won't so it will make my life easier by painting this frame black. I don't know if you like the paint sticking out from the frame, because on the JDL you can see through it, or at least with my grill, but yeah, I'll have to paint it, and I will have to straighten up this area as well a little bit. I don't know why it's like that. So yeah, installing those, and I guess we will do some modification in order to fit those with the bumper, so there will be something as a lift kit, even though it's really tight and narrow. That's why I could not fit it. That's a thing that I have to fix. Do I forget anything? I don't think so. For now I'm gonna paint it, and then I will put the license plate back to the OEM bumper, put the OEM bumper back, and I think that's good for the car for today. Again, that's the screw that goes in. Your OEM MR2 has them, so you shall be fine. I'm gonna fix now the left fender liner, because I have an issue here. You see, it's not attached anywhere, and I think I was hearing a rubbing noise. Maybe that's what I was hearing. It's touching the wheel on high speeds. And last but not least, I will try to do something fail-safe. I'm masking the radiator as much as I can, and then I will paint this side. I straightened this, but it still has a bump on it. It's fine. I guess I'm not forgetting anything. After that I will just put the bumper on, and we can start working with this baby. Let's see how we'll grind this epoxy or glue, whatever is on the grill, because we have to remove it, straighten it, and then paint it fresh black. I painted the interior, as I said, black, and that's why I said it's fail proof, because now you can't see anything. No matter how bad of a work I did, we can still work on it once we take the front bumper out again. I fixed the left fender liner, as I said. Haven't touched much here, but you can see as many marks as before. It was full of scratches. Now you can only see this one. That's a secret job. We will definitely talk about it once we install the new one again. Time to spend a day or two on sandpapering, prepping the bumper and fixing the areas. For now, as we said, 1, 2, 3 right here with the crack, right here, and something else below maybe. Where are they? Here we are with the epoxy. I will talk about it later. For now, we are done. Once we start working on the front bumper, we'll start recording again. Well, enough with all that talking, enough with all the part 1 review, rewind type of thing. It's time to work on the bumper. I finished sanding it right now. I have it right here with me. Yeah, approximately finished. There are some areas that could take a little bit of sanding, but for now we do not care. What I'm gonna do is I will mask the areas. I will show you approximately again how I will do it, and don't forget that what I'm doing here is a bit of a rookie and a testing thing, so I will be telling you what the best thing would be for your bumper, but I will be doing it a little bit differently. I will be experimenting a little bit, so I'm not waiting for the greatest results, even though I want them, but yeah, we will do some things that you shall not do if you want the best possible results. Make sure to clean the areas with soapy water before we start prepping and working with fiberglass and epoxy. So I cleaned those two surfaces right here. I cleaned this one down there with the crack. We're gonna do some work here from the interior right there, so the fiberglass will stay, or the roving actually will stay better. Same for this area. Here I will just use aluminum tape in order to not have excess running all the way down here, but yeah, I will most likely just use epoxy. So let's get started with that. Clean everything nicely, and let's tape off whatever areas we need to. Let's do the things that I'm not a huge fan of. We got something to weight the epoxy in order to get the greatest mixture possible. They tell us that the minimum weather conditions, like the temperature allowed, is 20 degrees Celsius, but for me right now I think I'm not even 15. So that's another thing that it would be nice to have, but I cannot wait like 3-4 months till I get a perfect temperature. For that reason we're gonna do it anyways. I got a plastic cup here. There is a chance that this one will melt, but I don't think so. So we're gonna weight it off first, then we're gonna add one of the putty A and then the putty B. Basically you have to read your epoxy behind and they will tell you the best mixture possible. For me it's 1:1, and if I want to make something stronger I will do 1:2 if I'm not wrong, but something like that. But I don't need to do something that crazy. The guy that works with bumpers, and he told me to buy those specific Neotex ones, he told me that 1:1 shall be perfect. So we will wait, for example, 50G, and then we will put the other one as well, 50G. add this slimy piece of shit. Let's start from here. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna get in. That's like, again, bondo. We're bondoing, it's not gonna get inside, so that's really bad. I would like to somehow force it in. Maybe my brain is not working right now because how mad I got with the other fix, like the most needed fix. Because, okay, those are nice to have, but the other side, the other thing looks really ugly. Really, really ugly. You're gonna ask me, why not just use bondo at this case, at this point? Just because I'm stupid. There is no other explanation. Just use bondo, close it up, and you're perfectly fine. But no, let's use this thing. Okay, that's how we're gonna force it in. Yeah, I think that's nice enough. Having a pretty huge jump from day 3 to day 6. Well, on day 3 the battery on my phone died, and maybe I was lucky for that. Honestly, you do not want to see what happened after, because I think you could already understand from the last clip that things were not going as I planned it at the beginning. Day 4 I didn't do anything. I left everything to cure, no matter what situation they were at, like what condition. And on day 5, yesterday basically, I did some work on the bumper with extra resin, epoxy, and today I won't be doing anything again. I will leave it like that. We had different materials than we needed. So for example, you can take a fiberglass mat and you will be fine, strong enough, and you will be happy enough with that. You don't need the roving. I think again it's roving, woven roving, something like that. It's a material, it's fiberglass again, but it has a completely different way, like it's set differently, and it's a little bit harder to work with, but it's way stronger and reliable if you can work with it. Obviously, things are not only about the material, like the fiberglass, the carbon fiber, or the woven, whatever, but the resin or the epoxy you're using. So we had a second problem, or this is the main problem. The epoxy that we used is something really strong and weird. Well, from the video you could see that I did a perfect 50-50 mix, and it was still really thick, like you could not use it. And you would see that I was trying to use the brush properly. For example, this smart guy here, my friend Alex, basically wanted to be smart, and while watching the video he was like, that's not how you use the brush. Well, obviously dude, that's not how you're gonna use the brush if you have great resin, but when you have that thing being so thick, you cannot really tap it, because in one specific moment I started tapping it and all I was doing was creating small mountains. It was like I'm making a 3D painting of mountains from the side. That did not work, so I had to use the brush like a normal brush, and honestly the cracks were fixed. One mistake that I did is that after not being able to work with that specific epoxy, I thought, hey, I have an idea, let's put more of the honey material in order to make it softer. So obviously it made it way softer and way easier to work, but it would not harden, obviously. But I just thought, you know, it's not gonna make that much of a difference adding a little bit. Oh well, it did. So whatever I made after that specific period was yesterday was destroyed, because I could just take it with my finger and just wipe it off. It was sticky, but still it would not harden. It had lots of bubbles in it as well, so you obviously want to mix it, not like on a circle. You want to make figure eights and put the patty upside down. Mix it in a way that you're not gonna create bubbles inside, because I did not know the trick with the heat gun, or basically the hair dryer, because I don't have a heat gun, and a heat gun would make more damage, I think. Next day I talked with the guy that offered me that epoxy solution, and he told me that, you know, I'm struggling the same way you do, so I use a hair drying device on full hot, and it makes everything easier. And obviously it took all the air bubbles off, made a way better mixture for me and way easier to work. So that's not recorded unfortunately, but it made a whole difference. Talking about what we're gonna do next, well, the next clip will be either me using my Dremel to clean areas off from the epoxy and having a flat surface with the sanding papers, or I will straightforward do that myself without having to record and just go straight to using body filler. I will show you how you want to mix it. Again, I am a rookie on that part, so I'm still learning, and even though I read things on the internet, I ask people that are doing that for many years, I still offer you the greatest advice possible. But whatever you see being done to my bumper is not the best possible solution for yours. And what I mean with that is that I'm in a bit of a rush here. So the idea is that you don't want to paint or work on a bumper in the winter. Why? Because the weather is cold, temperature is way too low, humidity in my country is way too low, so everything can be a mess. And overall, me myself, I have great pain on my back whenever I work on the humidity and the cold and having to sand it, and it's a work that was not planned for winter, and I'm just rushing it because I want the bumper on the car before the new year eve. Basically, I have many things to do after the new year, so I want things, at least with the car, to be straight and pretty straightforward. You know, I could leave the bumper aside till summer and then work nicely, freely, but my mindset won't allow it. So for personal reasons, I'm in a rush. I just want to finish it. Good, bad, it doesn't matter. Painting, like, even if I would do the best of the best on fixing things, coming to paint would be a different story, because no matter the great cans you get, because we're gonna spray it with spray cans, not with a pistol or the one that you use on the body shops, so that's already worsening things. And plus the weather and the temperature, that I'm not able to heat my garage. My garage is not big enough, you know, closed enough to be warming the area and painting, so it's gonna be uncomfortable. I have to paint it outside. If the weather will be so bad with, you know, wind, you cannot paint it outside, so I will have to find a different solution. So there are many things that keep me back, and I just want to finish with that as soon as possible so I can relax and focus on different things. I really shall start podcasting instead of recording fixes and shit, because honestly I enjoy more and I see that I'm more capable on making podcast type of things. So anyways, I forgot the microphone upstairs, so let's see what we can capture with the stock mic from the phone. But yeah, some things were just unlucky, to the point that everything that I used with the first mixture went great, but what I used with the second mixture in order to make my life easier, it failed. It never cured. It made my life way harder. I can not clean those gooey areas, so I started using soapy water and my cloth. I cleaned a little bit around here, so it's not that sticky anymore, but I have lots of things to do yet. This is an area with the old mixture. It looks perfect if it will focus. It is so good. This was the area that everything was exposed. Now it will be closed, or I will have to trim it a little bit more, but it's really strong, really stiff, really nice. But yeah, I used epoxy with the second mixture here, there, everywhere, because I just gave up. And that giving up made me use more of the bee putty and destroyed everything. So for me, unfortunately, from having time till the new year, now I have only 2 to 3 days to finish everything and clean up everything in this room of mine, because things are changing, plans are changing, and it's crazy to the point that I don't even know if I will be able to paint the bumper. And that might be a good thing, because if I won't paint the bumper, I will just take it and throw it in the other garage and say, you know, whenever I'm ready, I will just do it. But in the same time, if I would have this option in my mind, I would have done it way earlier. So it's a bit of a crazy situation right now. I'm gonna stop recording. I will start working with body filler. Honestly, I'm just gonna record the quantity that I'm mixing, the hardener and the body filler itself, and then I think I will stop recording again because I just need my time at this point, and I will show you just the after results. Just finished with kinda washing the bumper. There are still too many sticky areas because of the fucking epoxy. Sorry for swearing. Anyways, now we're gonna use the body filler Alex gave us, and this is the hardener. Every video that I watched, and even the manual for this body filler, is that you just squeeze it a little bit perfectly. You have to open the cap, push a little bit of the air out, close the cap, then do as you're mixing it, and then you will see what we're gonna add of each. So when I say if something is not going right, nothing will go right, there you go. Alex gave me an amazing product, empty, and you're gonna tell me, how is this empty? Well, basically it is it was messed up from the first moment. It wouldn't give any material. I think in order to not make this shed, because it just jumped all over it, basically I had to do one line and that's it. For that reason, because that's too much hardener for this specific amount, I'm just gonna use more body filler. This is shed, it's watery. I mean, he obviously did not know. But yeah, before I waste more time recording, I will just put more body filler in order to make the analogy a bit better. Jesus Christ. One line, guys, one line. You put as much putty you want, and then you put the hardener. You're supposed to do this, click, and that's it. But no, this thing had water, a lot of contamination. It would not give, it would drop water. Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm wasting time. More of that if something like that happens, and try to get close to the analogy. Let's see how worse things can go. Well, it's time to take a break. That's my setup. Amazing. But I'm done with sanding. I'm done. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. This area is perfect. This area, we had the huge crack, but everything here is perfect. The glue, the epoxy, everything. Sanding is perfect here. There we had the big hole. I will show you a picture as well. This is the area with the big chip. It's currently fixed, but we don't know how it will look on the car, or if we will have to grind it, and while grinding it maybe a big chunk will fall off. I don't know. Body filler, I'm not gonna waste more time going to buy, etc, etc. I did not fix this area. Such an easy fix. We can fix it even on the car if that will be the only problem. But again, just because I know this is not the only problem, I'm not gonna cry about it too much. Same for here. Those holes are full and really straight. Same for here. There was a huge crack and a hole. I don't know if this is enough to hold, but yeah, the whole bumper is cracked here, not this area. This is really bad, by the way. It will look shit, but again, everything else is smooth. And here again, this is the area that we did not have enough material. Jesus Christ, in the camera. Okay, thank God the camera showed it. Everything else is perfect, but see, imperfections that I did not see, and I just saw it. So no, sanding is not over for me. I will have to sand this as much as I can, because the primer will not help it, and everything else is ready. I will sand a little bit here, and I will go take a break, and after the break I will just wash the whole bumper. And after washing it and degreasing it, actually you have to degrease it, it will be the best possible way to do it, with isopropyl alcohol or anything else that will take everything dirty off it. For example, I have a lot of glue here. Shit, yeah, that's not gonna be good, but I don't have time, guys. Sorry, I have to apologize for myself. But something to make myself feel good is that even my OEM bumper is shit. So lot of damage here, very very bad. Cracks, bad paint, cracks, marks. The paint is going off every day. It's getting worse. This, I'm not even gonna talk about it. This is really bad. Again, cracks everywhere, marks everywhere, those ugly spots. You know, even my OEM bumper is shit, and this one was black. Not racist. It was just black, really black, compared to green. So even the worst possible results will be better from having a black unpainted bumper or an OEM that looks like shit. So honestly, everything here is scratched. I have so many things to show you here. The paint is chipping off as well. So that's it. We're doing whatever we can to finish it till tomorrow, worst case scenario. And I say worst case scenario because I'm rushing so much that I might even paint it all today. That will be really bad. But yeah, sand it, take a break, wash it, let it dry. Once it's dry, put a stand, put it somewhere so you can paint the whole area. Start with primer. Once we start doing that, I will actually tell you the codes and the waiting time. Boys, almost at the final chapter. I did not mask the grill because I don't even know if I'm gonna keep it. What I'm gonna use is this cardboard and just mask small areas, so I won't paint, you know, directly in the middle of it. But if I paint the edges, it's not that much of a big deal because I might change it again. Really rushed up job. So I cleaned it, washed it, dried it, and then cleaned it with a cloth. There are areas that could take extra sanding, as you can see right here on the edge. There are areas on the freaking body filler that are not really that great. Now that I've seen them, they have spots. I wish the primer will do some job on priming those. My stand is not perfect, but the only thing is that we are not outside. Yeah, so less contamination of the air. Yeah, okay boys, it's now time to finish it. So I guess you've seen my struggles with that setup. What type of perfect work underneath would do the final result great. I don't know why I'm still hating on myself. It's just because of bad ideas, I guess. But anyways, this is the first coat and this is how it's supposed to look. You don't have to cover it in one shot. You will have spots that you haven't put enough. You will have spots that you have put too much. That's not good. Obviously I did not even bother covering it at this point. I don't care, it's going to be painted green, right? So if I take this off the grill, I will just paint it black as I will in these ones that I just bought. And if I will have enough material, again, I'll just take it off, paint it black, cut in order to fit those two vents, and that's it. But yeah, first coat did not look very good. I'm not happy because of how I have the bumper tilted. You want to have the can straight, so everything painted right here is really nice. But when I come to this side, it's already a bit of a struggle, and I'm really scared on how it will be in the end when the can will be getting empty. So it's gonna have a massive overspray to no spray in some spots, and the pinion that drops the spray in the compressed air will most likely have trouble. So I haven't done anything here that I have to. The other side looks fine, here fine, but yeah, I haven't done enough here. Now the second coat will be a bit tougher, more material will be applied, and all the unevenness here, for example, will be corrected slowly, or we wish that it will. We will let it dry for like 3 to 6 to 10 minutes. Peak approximately with the weather. For me it's really humid and really cold, so I will let it dry for at least 6 or 7 minutes. But if it's really hot outside, some primers get good enough for the second shot in 3 minutes, and you can recoat it, and then we will see if we will need a third one. If I will have enough paint, see, another problem, I might do a third coat in some specific areas. If not, we will have to, you know, suck it up as it is. Just picked up the clear coat. We're going home. I sanded. Jesus Christ, I'm so dirty. Yeah, I just sanded the area with a 600 grit. You don't have to go too much, okay? Just a little bit. You will see the moment that the grayish or whatever paint color your primer is gets a little bit whitish. That's the moment you shall stop. And basically you don't have to put a lot of force. I did areas that had some marks of the primer that the spray can just spat on actually. So yeah, it took these small dots away, and let's wish for the best of luck with the color now. That's the most serious part, I guess. If the paint will go correctly, the clear coat is not a big deal. I only have 4 to 5 hours now actually till I use it, or if I put it on the fridge I can wait up to 24 hours. Then the specific clear coat is trash. It's 2 substance, and I don't know what type of trick is that, but yeah, I have to rush, go paint it, most likely 2 or worst case scenario 3 coats, 15 minutes in between coats, and I don't know, an hour once we're done to start the clear coat. I will definitely let you know in the next clip. I will check the clear coat's details, but yeah, I think an hour shall be fine till we start using the clear coat. Let me check. It's time to paint, and I don't know how I will do it. Primer was not a big deal, because even if you don't do it perfectly, it dries quickly and you redo it. But with paint, I don't have enough room to paint it, and I don't want to have the can tilted. So in order to paint properly, again, you have to spray that way, straight. When you do that, sometimes the solenoid doesn't catch any material, any paint, and it just pressurizes air for no reason. So maybe I will just take it outside, have it straight, and then again hold it from the grill, put it like that here in order to dry, and paint the underneath. I guess that's what I will do. I'll put something outside so I don't paint too much of the road. Even though I don't care, I've done it. If you see that black spot right there, it's a head valve cover plastic on my 1cc that I painted black. Anyways, again, about sanding, you just sand it a little bit and clean it with a cloth in order to know that you're doing it right. Some areas are rough. Once you sand it and you clean it, they will be super easy for your hand or your cloth to pass by. So let's see what we will put there and get on painting, because I'm running late. We are not using the microphone enough, but anyways, 3 minutes of shaking before we start painting. Let's wish that this little can will be enough. Always shake your spray with the cap on, because it will just drip everywhere. Those are not really good on holding moisture in. So if you start shaking like that, you might even paint your own car. That's what happens when you get closer. Not a good idea. Oh, it looks so good though. I like this area, but not the other. I don't get a lot of paint for some reason. Primer was good, painting so far was good. Oh man. And yeah, these cans are shit for the past. I don't know if I can. No, I cannot touch that. Oh my god, no. Did not find a way to fix it, but let's keep on going. Alright boys, what I had in mind was indeed correct. One spray paint won't be enough just because primer was. We're struggling to get paint off the can. We haven't even painted the underside yet, and I see spots that look like first coat, and even though we are in second, we just are not getting enough paint. Can't do anything about it. Can't really go pick up another can, even though I don't feel like it anyways. But even if I could do it, or if I would like to do it, still it's gonna take too much time. It's gonna dry a bit too much. Some areas are just disgusting, really disgusting. I don't know what I can do there, but I don't want to have spots that are not painted. I better have massive spots of overspray, and that's the deal with spray cans. I will be honest with you, I watched a YouTube video of a guy with a Mazda MX-5, red one, painting his fiberglass front bumper, race spec car. Something is shining right here. Anyways, and the guy did everything the way I would like to do. He basically closed an area with nylon all around. He put ventilation, one fan to suck air and the other one to put clean air inside. He did everything perfectly. He even got a spray gun. He was spraying the paint with a spray gun, and he had how you call it, a sanding disc, a sanding machine, the thing that rotates, anyways, a polisher to polish the clear coat, and he used everything the correct way. And the final result was a bit bad. I'm not gonna say too many words about it, but it wasn't really good. And I'm like, what am I competing against? And honestly, some people out there say that spray cans are good enough, and yeah, if you find the perfect spray can with the perfect paint and everything, you shall be pretty safe to go. And if you want to buy 2 of them just to be safe, for example, right now I would stop using this one. Honestly, it is disgusting. It's not spraying paint, it's just air, and if it will spray paint, it will be a massive overspray of watery substance. So honestly, I'm really disappointed with spots that are not being painted. The overspray, it's okay, I knew it would happen, but having areas that are whitish, grayish because of the primer, that sucks. So I'm letting the second coat kinda to dry, 10 to 15 minutes again, and once it's done I will try to spot the areas that are not painted, and I will risk it for a biscuit with the overspraying can. And once that is done, I will have to pick it up, put it in the stands, and paint the other side a little bit. If I find the other can, I think it's not here though, or it is, I'm not sure. Maybe it's in the other garage. I will just go pick it up and paint the other side. It's the same paint, it's just the OEM paint. 6S1 is the OEM paint, this one is 6W8, 6S1, 6S8. Yeah, because of, you know, how much the sun has damaged the paint, etc, etc. But yeah, disappointing, really. For some people it might look like okay. For me, look at that. Yeah, that's why I have already scheduled a repaint or a work on this bumper by summer, as I said. So there was a struggle here. You know, those areas won't be visible to anyone because that's how the bumper sits. No one is gonna be like, aha, let me see. Plus, this specific area will be wrapped by Alex with black, so it will be his first time, second time, I don't know. He's not very sure. He feels comfortable, okay, I don't want to lie. But yeah, that's another thing that we will be testing. I don't like wrapping things because the difference on paint. But yeah, that's another test that we will do, and when I will be working on the bumper, I will actually paint this whole thing black, this splitter thing. This is completely green, so obviously it's now time to take it off. See, you can see those bald spots. If you would be spraying with a gun, yeah, this is great. Here you have the bald spots. You see 1, 2, 3, and that's gonna look really, oh my god, look at that. Oh my god. Yeah, nice cans, man. The only thing that looks really promising is the clear coat. It's the second coat, and it looks really nice. It's the only time that I think the camera shows things worse. Or no, it's just a mirror effect. I like it now. You know, I like it more. Again, you can see those ugly spots. I still have a lot of paint, and it sprays really nice. It's the same can. I don't understand if the paint just thickens everything. Really, really nice. And the paint is coming to be really, really nice. I mean, it has more lightning there. Oh, I like it. Now I start liking it. But I mean, it's nighttime and it's just one foam flash and a weird light up there. But yeah, I will just give it another third slow coat so it won't drip. And with that third coat, we will have, we will be allowed, whoa, with the flash, I don't know how good it's gonna be, but with that third coat, we will be able to polish it nicely if we see areas that have bumps or ugly spots. I've been wearing the mask upside down, but it's okay. I am done for today. I don't care what happened here. I will see you in 2 days, I think, or unless I will start a podcast again. at my room. But till then, bye bye. Let's see what we did in 2 days. It's the second day after we painted the bumper, and I have it right in front of me, but I won't be showing you something specific right now because of the lighting again. Yeah, there are quite some imperfections with me not being able to clean things up, but without wasting more time, what we're gonna do today is I got my new grill right here, and unfortunately, even though it's brand new, it's a bit bent. I don't know how these companies work. I don't know if it's just an unfortunate video with everything going unfortunate, but yeah, it's bent. It has spots that need to be straightened, so we'll try to straighten it a little bit, and at the same time we'll try to remove the old one from the bumper and make 2 small cuts in order to fit them on the right and left vents. So first things first, try to straighten it. If I find an actual way to straighten it, I will show you. If not, I'll just have to use it the way it is, man. Vol number, I don't fucking even know how many tries and how many fails we got. An airplane is flying over. I could not use the Dremel. Honestly, they had put Bondo on the grill. Oh my god, I don't know who did it. His friend, his body shop, he himself. That was stupid. So much Bondo that the Dremel would have wasted my time. So I just took a pair of pliers and completely destroyed the old grill, pushed some of the areas that were sticking outside to the inside. Let me show you. And that's what we are left with. Basically all that residue there, but all this Bondo you've seen in the previous video is just not coming out. So I will set my painting studio, very nice, paint this one black and paint the other one that I got out. I will even fall down here. There you go. Paint both of those black. This one will be the one that I will cut into shapes to fit in those holes anyways, and this one will be the main one from now on. Them are painted, and I will be just waiting till they cure and the paint sticks nicely. Negro black, not the best spray can, but I will not cry about it either. Yeah, look at that. And now we're gonna lay down and sleep. Obviously I'm joking. We're gonna start taking the bumper off again, and I really wish that will be for the last time. And once everything is done, we're gonna glue the grills on all 3 sides, and once they cure a little bit, just to be sticky enough to, you know, not fall out, I will start working on the license plate, put the bolts. If I don't find, I will go buy 2 of them on the hardware store, and then install luckily everything back to the car and finish. Bumper is off, taken everything off. I put that because I did some job there and I wanted to glue. The fender liner was damaged. This side only is completely scrapped, but it's okay. The bumper is in. Lots of glue, lots of trying to put it together. Still using the same piece of shit that I used. Where is it? Right here. This thing that is not supposed to do any of that job. There's the old bumper. Well, I will wait a little bit, add more, or I will add all of that to make sure that it will somehow hold. Then I'm drilling holes on the license plate, installing it, and then last chapter, putting it back to the car. Hardest moment, I guess, because if we damage something, it's gonna look very bad. If some things from the areas that I fixed won't align, we're gonna break things again. So yeah, it's a mess. And obviously I wish that this glue will hold and I won't have to, you know, search for my license plates that is glued together, bolted on the grill, and one day it just flies over. So yeah, if those little ones fly, I don't really care, but if the main one flies, it takes my license plate, so that's a big deal. Just because there is a ton of wind outside, we're just gonna have a small talk here, or I will just preview the final results, and we'll have a greater talk with explanations and thoughts on painting and working on a fiberglass JDL bumper once we get upstairs. But if you don't get close to the bumper, everything looks nice. Once you get close to it, you see many imperfections, but I think I'm pretty happy with the results. Now that was a huge one. 50 minutes of content and we're still not done. For the people that watched the whole video, maybe I did not look very happy through the moments of fixing the bumper, but unfortunately after day 3 I struggled with some news that I had to overcome, and in the same time I had to finish my project. So yeah, maybe I was a little bit rough, but for the people that skipped here, I think you've done a great choice, because honestly, if I would have to do this job again from the beginning, I think I would do it 1,000 times better and have way greater results than the current ones. And that's not only because I learned many things, and I will give you those tips one by one specifically, but because one of the main tips is that you shall not rush, and that's something that I did not have. I could not do, unfortunately. In my mindset, I just couldn't. I had to finish it. I wanted the bumper on the car, and then after the news, you know, I just had to finish it. With that being said, tip number 1, if you don't have much time, don't rush, don't try to do it, just put it aside, do it whenever you want, with as much time as you can, because that will play a major role on the final outcome. With time being unlimited and having enough to do whatever you want with the bumper, we start now talking about the JDL for a little bit. The bumper we used, a fiberglass based bumper. The quality is indeed bad. The fitment was bad from the previous video, the part 1, and even now after fixing it, the fitment was still bad, and some areas would stick out again, some areas would be too deep, hitting the liner to be exact, and the headlight, and it's pushing the headlights. I'm not really a fan of that fitment, of, you know, things touching each other, but okay, that is what it is. We cannot do something about it now. Now going towards the paint job, fixing, etc., using epoxy, fiber, what would you choose? Would you do it the same way I did, or what we could change in order to have greater outcomes? Try to have a great stand. Yeah, if you don't have a stand, you will have to work with the bumper on the car, because that's the only way you can have a great stable place for the bumper. But if you have a stand and make it, you know, pretty stiff and nice, you will be able to work on the bumper on all angles and, you know, sand it nicely. Sanding is one thing that you have to do perfectly, because if you don't sand it perfectly, the spots that will come after the primer, or even worse after the paint, it's bad, honestly. And I did have an area not sanded nicely. I just did 240, I think 240 grit, and I forgot to do 400 as much as I would had to, and there are lines. You can see like a cat scratched it with paint on top, and that, I don't know if it makes it a bit better or worse, because now it proves that the paint job is done poorly, but if it would be a full scratch, you know, someone scratched it, so the owner is not a cheap guy or anything. I don't know what's the mindset behind bad bumpers, but yeah, just giving you an idea. So yeah, sand it nicely, use all the sandpapers. Don't waste money on sandpapers. You can use whatever sandpaper. I just paid $1 for the whole thing with the sandpapers. And about the pricing, now that we came here, it is that the price for me, I still did not pay $100 for the whole job, so I don't care. As I said many times in the video, I don't care. I will do it in 6 months, 7 months, and whenever I feel like it. And I have not driven this bumper enough to be 100% sure. I just did a 1 week testing through roads and places specifically that I knew, and, you know, going to the job, going to university, going to buy something, groceries. But what will happen when I will go to a vacation to roads that I've never touched before? We don't know. I might break the bumper, I might scratch it, scrape it, hit it. Nobody knows. So till we get to summer, we have a great road of testing, and if the bumper would be amazing, those would hurt a lot. But now I will be like most likely, hey, okay, it's already not that good, so it is fine. Something before we start talking about other things is the weight. I forgot to show the OEM on Alex's scale was 4.2, 4.3 kgs. Okay, The new bumper, the JDL bumper, the one that I fixed, with all glue, with all the grill, with everything weighted on it, with the license plate, everything was 9.8. So indeed it weighs a lot, but we don't know actually the aerodynamic effects, if it will have any, because I did a stupid aero test. Basically I had to take the bumper from one place to another, both the OEM and the JDL, and it was the same wind, and with the OEM I would feel so much drag, and the bumper would try to, you know, turn on me the way the wind would hit. But don't get confused, yeah, the JDL has more holes around and greater ones, and less restrictive grills now, so the air passes through it nicely. But the idea with aero is, where does the air go? So with the OEM one, you know that it hits the bumper and just curves around and goes around. Now all this pressure from the wind will be okay going to the radiator, that's a good thing, but from the left and right vents, they are going straight to the fender lines. Now the fender lines are not really hard to stop the car, create negative drag for you, but in the same time I really wish they are not as soft as I think, so they won't, you know, rub on the wheel on crazy high speeds. I did zip tie and put some bolts around to make it extra secure, but I'm not feeling really comfortable that way, so we will have to design something for the air to go from the left side towards the inside of the engine. Jesus Christ, we don't have the engine in the front. What did I just say? Not the engine, but towards the chassis, and another route going under the wheel. And you know, if you wanted to take to be ahead, you can try to make a vent that goes towards the brakes, but okay, that's a little bit too much. That's overdone, overcooked. So we spoke about aero, weight, and time as a great tip. Now let's talk about actually using materials and having to do the job again. Well, starting with fixing it. I told you many times that if you have cracks or damaged areas, the best way is to find the end of the crack, drill a deep hole from both sides, and then start fixing it. That will secure you, and the bumper will not crack again through the same area. But we did not do it because, I don't know, because we're just not okay in our minds. But yeah, I tried an epoxy instead of a resin, and I tried roving, different type of fiberglass instead of classic matte. And what we have, like, an understanding of it is that the epoxy and the roving way stronger than the outcome of matte and just resin. But the epoxy I used was two substances, and I did not know that I need to warm it in order to make it soft, because the epoxy, or actually the resin, works a different way. The resin, you actually have to make the mixture, dip it, and it's watery, so you can use the mat quickly, and the mat will get soaked the resin, and you will be able to work with it. You will have small fibers, and you will be able to touch it with the brush, as I said in the video, and make a nice texture that you want. And then, you know, once it's dry in 2 days, work on it nicely. But with the epoxy I used, it was really thick, and you could not really spread it around. For the cracks though, it worked fantastically. So nice that it looks OEM, it looks perfect. Both areas that we had cracks so far look great. Obviously we will have to see it after a couple months of driving to see if that fix is actually stiff enough. And about the matte, just use normal matte. Use normal resin, normal matte, you will be perfectly fine. The Rovin I don't know if that's the exact name, I just keep using it, and the epoxy are a bit of an overkill. If you will go that route though, use a hairdryer or a heat gun, make your life easier. And with that skill now known to me, I can work so more and so greatly on the bumper that I can make better fixes. So that is done. Once you're done with fixing, let it dry for at least 2 days, even if it feels dry on the touch and hard. that doesn't mean anything. The inside can be still watery and gluey. That's something that I still did not know, even though I knew that I had to wait 2 days. After this first day, like I woke up and went to the garage, I felt it really hard. So I was like, okay, let's trim it a little bit, because I had rough edges that they would be gone, we needed to be gone anyways. So once I started using my Dremel, once I touched like the inside, the deep side, lots of gluey material still existed, and it wrapped around my Dremel attachment. And yeah, I understood that I did something that I was not supposed to. So yeah, be patient. Again, time is one of the greatest things in order to have great results. Once you're done with the whole epoxy, resin, matte, roving, carbon fiber fixing type of thing, we go to actually having the area smooth and nice. Again, sandpaper. You need time to sand things nicely. Use body filler. Okay, about the body filler, just have a new one. I would never ever use again a used one, even though I knew that Alex is a guarantee for me. Unfortunately, he did not know that as well, and he was really confused when I told him that, you know, your body filler was not good. Not as of quality, it is indeed a good one, maybe, I don't know. But for me, because of the old hardener and the watery substance, even after mixing, the final result of that body filler specifically was a bit like a Play-Doh, a sandy texture. That is not supposed to happen. You are supposed to have a nice, smooth thing to work with and go around the edges and have, you know, it just makes sense. I don't have a perfect explanation for that, but it's not supposed to be like Play-Doh, because once the Play-Doh cured and I started trying to smoothen it with sandpaper, you would have 3 marks, for example, and you're like, okay, let's sand it and get it to be even. You sand it and you're like, okay, the 3 holes are now gone. And because it was a Play-Doh substance, as big chunks leave the surface, you've now created more holes, 4 more. You try it again, grind it, sand it, more holes. And at one point I was like, okay, enough. If we keep sanding it, we will have a deep spot, and that's something you definitely don't want to. So again, don't use old or cheap body filler, and use a new and maybe a quality one you've tried before. Now that you're done with the body filler, it's time to again sand everything perfectly. I cannot say that as many times as I would like to. I would have to say it a billion times, and the video is now an hour long, I guess. But yeah, sand everything nicely. Once you sand everything nicely, clean and degrease all areas. If you will not degrease it like me and just use soapy water, you will most likely still have some contamination in some areas, and that will cost you in the long run. The primer will not stick properly, the primer has the paint and the clear coat on it, and guess what? If the primer leaves, everything leaves, and you will have the unpainted surface underneath exposed. And if that starts happening, everything will slowly start to chip off with weather, cold, heat, washing, etc. So use a degreaser. I did not use it. Don't tell me that my result is good. It is not good. And if you truly believe that it can be better than that, honestly, I don't think anyone thinks that way, but if a single viewer thinks that it's a perfect result, trust me, be patient, subscribe, and wait for 6, 7, 8 months whenever I feel like working on the bumper again, and I will do it again myself, and you will see that it will be great. It will be way better. You've done everything, you cleaned everything. Get a nice place. Okay, the chair just wants to play around with me. Get a nice place with the stands so you can paint everywhere nicely and even adjust the bumper, because okay, the spray can, let's say that this is a spray can, I'm holding one, you don't want it to be tilted, or maybe just a little bit, but if you start tilting it too much, it will start sucking air, and that's something that you don't want to. And obviously don't only buy one spray can, and if you're able to not use spray cans, honestly, no matter how much you pay for spray cans, even though you shall, because the more you pay, the better quality paint you're gonna get, it's still not enough. If you have a gun, use the gun, not a spray gun actually, use it and you will have greater results, that's for sure. And about the paint, obviously if you don't pay enough, the match will not be great. My match Personally, I think it's great, but because of the clear coat not curing perfectly in some areas, those areas are not as shiny, and Toyota, or if not all Japanese cars, tend to have this problem that the bumpers always look a bit darker. And that's why in the video at the end I went towards the rear side of my car, so you could see that the paint difference from metallic surfaces and plastic or fiberglass surfaces differ by a lot. Now, I don't know if I have enough clear coat to, you know, use a shiny ceramic coat or something to make the clear coat more alive, but maybe we will try it. And again, Alex is coming soon to wrap the vents. I don't have time to wait for him to make the video together because I want to finish it right now. I'm editing literally right now, 24th of December. So I might upload it tomorrow, or if I will be quick enough, even today, but I think most likely tomorrow. No more tips, I think. Use a good primer, good paint, and good clear coat. Those are the three things that you're supposed to pay. Other things, body filler, okay, yeah, it would be great to have a good one, but mostly a fresh one and not an old contaminated one. Glue and epoxy, just go for classic resin and a matte, fiberglass matte. You shall be more than good to go. And sandpaper, a lot of sanding. The more you do, the better results will eventually come. Final talk about the JDL bumper. I'm really happy about the final result because the bumper itself is so great, it looks sick. I just have to, you know, align the license plate because it's a little bit tilted with the bolts. I don't think that's a big deal. I will unscrew one bolt and try to, you know, put it to a great line, and I think that's it. Other than that, we are done. Time for races, baby. Time to challenge a couple guys. I found a couple Golfs, a couple Civics, and a couple Seat Ibizas. So let's go, let's race, let's enjoy the car. And I wish you enjoyed the video, even though I doubt anyone watched the whole thing. I wouldn't watch it myself, honestly. That's a really bad thing to say, but it is way too much. An hour-long video? No, pass. Anyways, thank you for as much as you watched. I wish you're having great holidays. Love, peace, and SGS, as I always said in my older videos. Bye bye.